Yeah, hi there. These comments are for Fong, and you're one of my online TOEFL students for my 7-step system to pass the TOEFL IBT. And also, you've purchased the additional service to get specific feedback on all of my pronunciation lessons as well as my TOEFL speaking integrated and independent speaking practice tests. And today, you want to get some feedback on one of the practice tests. And if I remember correctly, this one is independent speaking practice test number 9. And the question here is, what time do you prefer to take classes? In the morning, afternoon, or evening? And what I'm going to do right now, I will listen to the speaking task in full first. I will listen to the whole thing without stopping. And after I'm done, I will play it in parts, and I will critique each part of your speech. I'll play first the introduction, then I'll play the first part of the body of your speech, and then the second part, the third part if you have one, and then I'll take a look at your conclusion. And as I'm going, I'll comment on pronunciation, grammar and language use, and also your topic development. I'll try to give you feedback in those specific areas. And of course, I'll give you a score so you can kind of see where you are right now. Okay, what I'm going to do now is go ahead and click on the link for the independent rubrics. So every time I score something, I always look at the ETS rubrics so I can be accurate. I try to be as accurate as possible. Okay, here we go.
Personally, I prefer to take classes in the morning. First, I feel full of energy in the morning. Therefore, it's easier for me to focus on the lessons and master what the teacher has taught. As a result, I have made a big progress in my study. For example, almost the morning classes such as English, biology, chemistry, and pharmacology, which I took at the last semester, gave me the high scores. Also, taking morning classes leaves me free in the afternoon to take care of my children, at night to have a leisure time with my family, so I am ready for the next day morning classes.
Okay, let's go back to the beginning.
Personally, I prefer to take classes in the morning. First, I feel full of energy in the morning.
Okay, what I would recommend there is, it looks like you have two key points here. You have more energy and you'll have more free time in the afternoon. So I would revise that topic statement to say something like this. You might say, because I have more energy and I'm free in the afternoon, I prefer to take morning classes. That would be what I'm trying to get you to do there, is to create a more specific topic statement. So your topic statement, if you want to be super organized, it includes the two key points that refer to the different parts of your speech. And that helps tighten up the beginning or the introduction of the speech to the rest of the speech. Now also, I think there might be some slight pronunciation issues with the beginning. Let me play it one more time.
Personally, I
Okay, personally. You want to produce that P with more air. Personally.
prefer to take classes in the morning. First, I feel full of energy in the morning.
So you say, first, I feel full of energy in the morning. It was good to use the word in the morning because that restates part of the speaking task.
Therefore, it's easier for me to focus on the lessons.
So you have more energy. Let me go back.
It's easier for me to
It's easier. It's easier for me. So be careful with those final endings there. I wasn't quite sure if you're saying easy or easier. Easy has 2 syllables. Easier has 3. Let's listen to it one more time.
First, I feel full of energy in the morning.
And I'll use that word energy, energy.
Therefore, it's easier for me to focus on the lessons and master what the teacher has taught.
And what the teacher has taught. I don't know, you're talking about an argument here. I don't know if present perfect would be the best tense there. It helps me learn what the teacher teaches or is teaching. So let's keep going.
The result, I have made a big progress in my study.
So I would say progress. The result is I have made. Now actually you're parallel at least. So you started off with your first key point using the present perfect tense, and you're continuing with the present perfect. So I guess that's grammatically parallel. So that was a good strategy.
Example, almost the morning classes such as English.
Let's take a look at that.
Almost the morning classes such as English. Almost the morning classes such progress in my study. For example, almost the morning classes such as.
I think you're missing a word there. Let me see.
Example, almost the morning classes such as.
Almost the morning. You might say almost all would probably be better there. Almost all the morning classes.
English, biology, chemistry, and pharmacology, which are
Some word
chemistry
stress.
and pharmacology,
I would say there chemistry on that first syllable. Chemistry.
which I took at the last semester, gave me the high scores.
I think there's some grammar issues going on there.
And pharmacology, which I took at the last semester, gave me the high scores.
Let me listen to that again.
As English, biology, chemistry, and.
Wait a minute.
For example, almost the morning classes such as English, biology, chemistry, and pharmacology, which I took at the last semester, gave me the high scores.
Okay, so almost all the classes, then you put chemistry, biology, pharmacology, which I took last semester, gave me high scores. I don't know. A class doesn't really give you a high score, but you receive a high score in the class. So you probably have to rephrase that a little bit and say something like, you might say, last semester I received high scores in the following classes.
Also, taking morning classes leaves me free in the afternoon.
That was good grammar. You say also, taking morning classes leaves me free in the afternoon. That was good. Now that's your transition. This is a key part of the speech. So also is a good word that shows you're adding to the previous idea. Now if you really want to impress the IBT human raters, you could do even a little bit better transition. You might say, in addition to giving me more energy, taking morning classes allows me to have more free time in the afternoon. So in that transition sentence, I actually restated part of my first idea in the speech, and then I went to the next idea of my speech.
To take care of my children at night, to have a leisure time with my family.
Let me go back a little bit.
Also, taking morning classes leaves me free in the afternoon to take care of my children at night, to have a leisure time with my family.
Now you want to say the word leisure. Leisure. That's two syllables, not one. I think you were saying leisure.
Leaves me free in the afternoon to take care of my children at night, to have a leisure time with my family.
Yeah, you definitely want to say leisure there. That's causing some trouble, I'm going to be honest with you, because the IBT human rater, they might not know what you're talking about there.
So I am ready for the next day morning classes.
I think that's word, or I would say, so I am ready. So the next day, I am ready for my morning classes. So I think you have some word order issues there.
At night, to have a leisure time with my family. So I am ready for the next day morning classes.
Now I would say, so I'm ready for my morning classes the next day would probably be the better word order for that. Okay, now let me just do it a third time because I've been concentrating so much on the individual parts of the speech. I need to kind of hear the whole thing one more time to give you your score.
Personally, I prefer to take classes in the morning. First, I feel full of energy in the morning. Therefore, it's easier for me to focus on the lessons and master what the teacher has taught. As a result, I have made a big progress in my study. For example, almost the morning classes such as English, biology, chemistry, and pharmacology, which I took at the last semester, gave me the high scores. Also, taking morning classes leaves me free in the afternoon to take care of my children, at night to have a leisure time with my family, so I am ready for the next day morning classes.
And don't forget the word children, the L in there, you're not pronouncing very clearly, so children. All right, what do we got here? We got a good speech. I think you're in pretty good shape. I'm going to say we look at the 3 to the 4 range. It says delivery. Your speech is mostly clear. You have minor difficulties. It says your overall intelligibility is not significantly affected. I'm going to say false. Your intelligibility is a little bit affected. It is. For example, the word instead of leisure. So there were some times in the speech I wasn't exactly sure what you were talking about. Now, grammar and language use, I think you have a pretty good combination of your grammar and your language use. You did have some minor problems with, as I think I pointed out, some word order issues, and I showed you different ways of how you could say some things in the speech. Topic development, I think, was actually pretty strong. You didn't just talk about basic ideas, you also tried to give some specific details to support some of those ideas. So some parts of your speech, maybe delivery is in the 2 range, but I think your grammar, your language use, your topic development is in the 3 range, according to the rubrics. So probably the IBT human raters, they might disagree a little bit with this particular task. So based on what I just listened to, I'm going to put you at 2.83 out of 4, or about 22 points out of 30 on this particular speaking task. That would be the score that I would give you right now. Now, what do? In terms of lessons, let me go to the Toefl Lessons really fast, see if I can give you some basic ideas of some things you might take a look at. Okay, let me go to the Toefl course so I can take a look at them individually, specifically. I would say pronunciation, I'd like to have you do these. You actually do these, so don't worry about doing them exactly now, but you can study them now and eventually you'll practice them, and I will give you specific feedback. But I like what you're doing right now with my pronunciation lessons. You're starting at lesson 7 and you're just kind of moving forward, so keep focusing and keep working on those things. Now, as you're doing that, in the pronunciation area, I'd like to have you take a look at the following lessons also. Pay really particular attention to these lessons. I think any of the explosive type consonant sounds you want to be careful about. But first of all, where is the one I'm looking at? Lesson number 16. You remember that word leisure? Leisure. It's a good vocabulary word, but you weren't pronouncing that with the right number of syllables, either because you could not pronounce the sound or you didn't know it needed that second syllable. Also, I'd like to have you take a look at lesson number 19 with the P and the B consonant sounds, and also lesson 23, the T and the D consonant sounds. I think that would be good. In terms of the other part of my course, again, you just keep working individually on these as you go, but pay close attention to syllable division and grammatical word endings. These lessons are going to be important for you. And as you noticed, sometimes you cut the final endings of words off, and that's partly due to your first language being Vietnamese. Now, I got to tell you, I got good news for you. I have taught a lot of Vietnamese students at California State University, San Bernardino, and also Thai students, and these students have very, very difficult problems with pronunciation, and you're doing quite well. I mean, you are doing very well, and I'm basing my evaluation on having taught literally dozens and dozens of Vietnamese students since 1994, and a majority of them have a lot more problems with their pronunciation than you do. So you have done a wonderful job so far in terms of working on your pronunciation. What you have done has not come easy, because the two languages are very different. English and Vietnamese are vastly different. So first of all, congratulations on excellent progress that you've made so far with your English. And of course, what my job is to try to push you and to help you be even better than what you are right now. Now remember that I'm pointing out, you're basically paying me to point out all of your problems, everything that you're struggling with, right? Now, remember that I'm just trying to be objective, and remember, don't take things personally. I'm just trying to help you as best I can, and one of my expertise is actually in pronunciation and accent reduction. Okay, now the next thing is, based on the response, I do want you to take a look at my speaking lesson number, I think it's number 2, and in the beginning of that lesson, it talks about how to create sharply focused thesis statements. Remember, in yours, you simply chose, I like to take morning classes, but you didn't say why. Now, I gave you a suggestion and said, because I have more energy and I have more free time in the afternoon, I prefer to take my university classes in the morning, right? So if you want more ideas on different types of grammar that you can use to begin your topic statement, check out speaking lesson number 2.0. I think that would be very useful for you at this stage. Okay, now also I probably talked to you a little bit about this last time, is with your pronunciation, part of pronunciation, I think improvement has to do with your attitude and your motivation, and also your willingness to identify with the new culture. So what you want to do now is try to find opportunities to move out of your comfort zone a little bit. For example, sometimes students, when they come to the United States, they have a tendency to hang around students of their own culture. So for you, you probably have some Vietnamese friends, and that's great, no problem with that. But that should not be the only people that you hang out with. You want to make sure you're having regular contact with native speakers who speak native English. So this is very important for you. So if possible, if you have free time, I don't know if you ever thought about this, but volunteering. I think that you live in El Monte, California, and I actually live in close to San Bernardino, California, so we actually live in the same state. And I know there's a lot of opportunities for you. For example, you could volunteer at a homeless shelter where you can have opportunities to speak English with native speakers. So this is actually very, very important for you to do that. All right, so anyway, thank you very much. And I've given you some comments now. I've given you some assignments and some things, and I look forward to hearing from you again. And keep up the good work.